Back in 2020, the Australian military started to undergo a huge modernization process. Called Land 159, it was intended to equip the Australian Defence Force, or ADF, with next-generation weapon systems, surveillance, and target acquisition ancillaries, among many other things. Some of the new weapons they selected were a domestically produced combat knife, the Sig MCX in 300 Blackout, the Benelli M3A1, which is cool in its own right, and the Sig P320 X-Carry Pro. The new P320 is replacing the old Mark III Browning high power that they'd been using since at least 1988, because it was getting awfully long in the tooth and it needed to be replaced. And I decided to clone their new service pistol. Why? I don't know. I guess I don't really have a good reason for doing that. I thought it looked cool. I just think service pistols are cool in general. Majority of the pistols I own are either clones of service pistols or are actual service pistols. Now, my daily carry is a clone of the Mark 27, which I am planning on doing a video on in the future. And Sig said I couldn't have one, so I took that personally and made one. I should state now that I am in no way affiliated with Sig Sauer or any of the brands mentioned in this video. All of this stuff was purchased on my own, and I would like to thank Sig for making it just annoying enough to be a challenge to put this together, without it being too annoying to dissuade me. But on the topic of sponsorships, now is the perfect time to tell you about this video's sponsor, World of Tanks! Yeah, Zach got a big boy sponsorship. World of Tanks is a free-to-play MMO on PC, accessible to anyone and everyone, with over 100 million concurrent players. And featuring 800 different tanks, ranging from light-wheeled scout cars up to massive heavy tanks and artillery. You can find the playstyle that works best for you. Be fast and nimble, or slow, but hit like a cinder block moving at 900 meters per second. You can even play as my favorite and best tank ever, the Swedish Stridsvagn 103. There he is, there's the perfect boy. Look how glorious and no, cut away from that. There are massive maps with a huge variety of environments, including forests, deserts, and urban environments. What's that? You want historical accuracy? Well, buckle up, buddy, because World of Tanks has it. The level of attention to detail here means authentic tanks that look and move like the real thing. They even modeled the slat armor on the S-Tank. That was a state secret until... You gotta stop showing that, you're disrespecting... If you download World of Tanks using the link in the description and use code COMBAT, new players will receive 7 days of premium access, 250,000 credits, and the premium tank, the Cromwell B. You'll also receive 3 rental tanks, the Tiger 131, the T-78, and the Type 64 to try for 3 battles each. It's okay if they blow up, the rental insurance agency will cover it. And if you're a returning player, you'll get 3 days of premium access, the 2D bargain camo, and a 7-day rental of the premium tank Centurion Mark V. Now back to the video. Now what exactly is the new ADF service pistol? Practically speaking, it is the Sig Sauer P320 X-Carry Pro in 9mm. That means it has the carry length slide with a barrel measuring in at 3.9 inches, with a full-size frame and a flush fit magazine that holds 17 rounds. This is a pretty big step up from the Mark III high power, considering that originally held 13 rounds, though they do make larger capacity magazines for it that are just not flush fit with the frame. A similarly configured pistol to the P320 X-Carry would be the Glock 45, which is a 9mm pistol with a 4-inch barrel and a full-size frame capable of holding 17 rounds. I think Glock screwed up making their model number 45 not in 45 ACP, but...
You know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
The X-Carry Pro also features the X-Carry grip module, which is noticeably wider than the standard grip module. Oh, these things are called grip modules instead of frames, because what is technically the frame is this removable thing here that Sig calls the Fire Control Unit, or FCU. The X-Carry grip module also features this larger than normal beaver tail. They do make the X-Carry grip module in 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. This one is medium since I feel like that one fits my hand the best. A lot of people I've talked to don't necessarily like the X-Carry grip module. They say it feels too wide, which, yeah, I can understand. It doesn't really bother me, but I can see where they're coming from. The other primary feature of the X-Carry Pro is its slide, which features the new Sig Pro optics cut and retains the rear sight when the optics plate is removed, unlike the M17. I'll discuss that nonsense in a later video on the M17, but a brief summary is that when you add an optic to the P320 M17 slide, or slide similar to it, you lose your rear sight entirely, and you end up with a huge flat spot on the back of your slide that looks stupid and it drives me crazy. It's also the manual safety version, which I don't mind at all. Manual safeties on pistols don't really bother me, and it's nice to have that extra layer of security after some of the incidents. On that note, do I think the P320 is going to just suddenly fire without warning? No. If I did, I wouldn't own one. In the research I've done, it seems like every instance of the P320 unintentionally firing has been down to operator error. If it did suddenly and randomly fire without warning, I don't think the P320 would have been adopted by as many military and police organizations as it has. However, I feel like Sig could avoid a lot of problems here by just putting a segmented trigger, like what is on basically every other striker-fired handgun, onto the P320. The addition of an external manually activated safety definitely helps, but they don't offer that on every version. Also notice that this isn't the pistol that I'm carrying around all day every day. Do with that info what you will. Interestingly, issuing the 320 makes the Australians the first military to outfit their standard issue pistol with an optic. Yes, the US military did have some pistols with optics attached to them, and the M17 does have a slide cut to accept an optic, but those were the realm of more specialist forces, and the standard issue variant of the M17 doesn't come with an optic on it. It's an optional accessory that can be added at command discretion. So this is not a perfect clone. The flashlight, which is a Streamlight TLR7 here, is supposed to be the Sig Foxtrot 2R. I do have one of those on the way, but Sig has taken their dear sweet time sending it to me, and I am impatient and I wanted to do this video, so the Streamlight is filling in for the moment. The TLR7A is only 200 lumens less and, wait, 15,000 candela less? Good God, I need to play around with that Foxtrot 2, that's ridiculous. The light I have on the way is also the black version instead of the FDE one, but I don't know when the FDE Foxtrot 2R is going to be released, and like I said, I'm impatient. Speaking of FDE, the hood on the Romeo 2 isn't FDE either. I've done a good amount of research, and as far as I can tell, the FDE hood is unobtainium unless you're the ADF, so I'm just leaving it black for now. Maybe I'll get it Cerakoted in the future, but honestly, it doesn't bother me that much. It matches the light, so whatever. One of the other differences is the barrel I have has what's called the LCI, or loaded chamber indicator notch, in it. The reason for this is Sig doesn't sell the ADF service pistol configuration on the civilian market. They're kind of bad about that. Okay, take the M17 for example. The version of the M17 that you, as a civilian in the United States, can buy is this, the P320 M17. Except that this isn't an M17. The actual M17 has a different slide on it, which is cut for a completely different optic pattern. If you want that M17 slide, you have to get the Sig M17X, which comes with the correct slide and the correct optic, but it doesn't have the manual safety off of an actual M17, and it comes with the X grip module, so the frame is incorrect.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
It's just more than a little annoying that Sig advertises these cool versions of the P320, but the only two X-carry pistols that you can actually get are either a full-size pistol with an integrated compensator, or a Legion version with a threaded barrel. Okay, I got off topic there, sorry. So, you can't get the ADF version of the 320 X-Carry Pro in the United States, but that doesn't mean that you're screwed if you want to clone it. The way the 320's Fire Control Unit, or FCU, is set up, removing the manual safety is a hell of a lot easier than adding one. If you want to add a manual safety to the FCU, there isn't a hole in the frame to do that, so you better be real confident in your dremeling ability or you're gonna have to send it to someone who can mill it out for you. I didn't really feel like ruining a perfectly good FCU, so I just ordered the P320 M18 because it came with the correct barrel length and then the manual safety is already installed. I should note that Sig, confusingly, doesn't sell a manual safety version of the FCU on its own, or one with a standard curved trigger. This would be the cheapest method of cloning this gun because then you don't end up with a bunch of extra leftover parts that you don't need.
Many of you feel bad for this.
Spare parts.
That is because you're crazy. It has no feelings. And the new one is much better.
But for some reason, Sig doesn't think anyone wants a standard FCU with a manual safety. And to make matters worse, they don't even sell a standard Nitron P320 with the manual safety on it. It's like Sig used to come out with a pistol and then make about 15 different versions of it. They did this with the 938 and 238. When that one came out, there were something like 30 versions total. And then they didn't sell well because there was too much overlap, and customers didn't know which one they wanted to get, so Sig ended up narrowing it down to about 3 versions of each. Hell, they only make one version of the 238 now, and it's the California compliant version. I understand that the 320 is a modular handgun, but what's the point of that modularity if it can't accept a manual safety without me drilling into the FCU? I just used the barrel and recoil spring off of the M18 in this pistol, which is why this one has the LCI notch in it. Again, confusingly, Sig does not sell a 3.9-inch non-LCI cut barrel. At least that I could find anywhere. I mean, they do, but it's the gold titanium nitride version, which does nothing for me.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
Next, you just have to get an X-Carry grip module in FDE and the Sig X-Carry Pro slide. I got the one with the suppressor height sights, if only because I like having backup irons that I don't have to remove the optic to use, and I've seen photos of the new pistol both with and without the taller sights. I already had a Romeo 2 optic on hand, and that was very easy to mount to the slide. The Romeo 2 is kind of cool in that it has a huge window, and it can be either an open or closed emitter optic, depending on what the end user wants. Mine is the 6 MOA version because I like large dots on handguns, and I already owned it, as I said. The Romeo 2 comes in a 3 or 6 MOA version, as well as a circle dot reticle version. The Romeo 2 also has this cool feature where you can slap this rubber hood on it that has a little magnet in the front. When it's positioned close enough to a specific spot on the optic, the magnet turns the optic off. Supposedly there's holsters with magnets built into it that can make use of this feature, but I haven't really been able to find any. And the battery life is supposedly 25,000 hours, and it has MOTAC, which is a motion-activated control, that shuts the optic off after it's stopped moving, and then turns it back on when it senses motion. Then, after all that stuff, it's as simple as adding the Foxtrot 2 light when it gets here.
This is where I put it.
Foxtrot 2.
If I had one!
And the clone is completed. Simple. The pistol, it feels pretty good. It's not going to blow your hair back or anything. I mean, it's a standard issue service pistol, which really only appeals to weird service handgun nerds like me. If you're a fan of the P320, then there's probably a variant that you like better, and if you're not a fan of the P320, then it's not going to win you over or anything. This is just the kind of stupid project I live for. Sig made this pistol for the Australian military, said I couldn't have one, so I decided to build it myself. Well, that's about it for this video. Join me next time when I discuss the dumbass process I had to go through to clone my M17 pistol, or how I'm talking about the Mark 27 or something. Maybe I shouldn't do 2 videos on a 320 in a row. Oh, who knows. Leave a comment with the code word EMU in it so that I know you made it to the end of the video. You know, because of the Great Emu War. I'm sure the Australians aren't sick of hearing about that. Thank you again to World of Tanks for sponsoring the video. Link in the description. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe for more weird ramblings like this, and I will see you in the next one.